Alright my friends, today is March the 17th. It's about an hour and a half after the weekly open. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. So let's go ahead and start off with the boring bit. Wednesday, we have the US FOMC. Not going to be taking any trades because of this, but it's important to make a mental note because the entire world has been, patiently waiting for the pivot from Powell. And if we were to get any rhetoric that would lead us in that direction, that would obviously be really optimistic for markets. Whether or not that would play out bullishly in the immediate term, I don't really care. It's more about the long-term view. The strength of this bull trend has been really strong, and if we were to get a significant cut in rates, that would obviously be very supportive for the trend longer term. So we want to be paying attention to that. If you're interested in gaining access to the spaghetti template and learning how to properly utilize it, you should consider joining the Paragon group. Let's go ahead and get into the Bitcoin macro. Basically what we're at right now, like I talked about on the past several streams and outlooks, we were looking for a kind of reset in value for Bitcoin. Bitcoin got really extended and far ahead of its, developing value. And it looks like that's what's playing out right now. We're starting to chop it up a little bit. So these are the kind of three scenarios I'm working with. As far as higher time frame goes, I'm still super bullish, and I think that we're on the precipice of a larger run. But right now we need to kind of reset value and build a strong base so that we can leg up again from. So these are the three scenarios I'm working with right now in order of likelihood, in my opinion. So number one is a little bit more of a pullback and a continuation of this local bottoming pattern that we've been developing over the past few days. Basically bottom out around 64K before trading up higher. The other scenarios I'm looking at, second would be a reclaim of 69K. If price gets back above 69K and we see some bullish flows up there, that could be a clear trigger for us to trade up. I don't think that's as likely as us trading down though, to be honest, but you got to be prepared for everything. The third scenario that I'm looking at is the steeper pullback towards 60K, which would be an awesome opportunity to really put on some more longs for the swing. And I think that the risk to reward is incredibly well defined there. 60K is essentially my line in the sand right now for bull bias. I'm not saying that I wouldn't pivot to a more defensive approach this week if I thought things were more bearish than 64K. But from a price action standpoint, I'm looking at 60K as the line in the sand for the bull strength. The bull trend wouldn't be over if we lost 60K. It would just be a reason to be risk off, definitely. So, main situation or setup that I'm looking for is a little bit more of a pullback towards 64K. If we start to get back above 69K, that's a trigger to go long. And if we pull all the way back towards 60K, that's a really great area to put on a lot of risk. So those are the main scenarios I'm working with. I know that we've seen a little bit of blood recently with our first kind of real look at blood in quite some time. It's just been relentless up only with no real pullbacks, or at least no sustained pullbacks. All the pullbacks just got bought back immediately. This is the first time where the pullback didn't get bought up. There has been a little bit of a shift in flows last week. Spot flows were a lot more bearish, but I'm definitely not worried about anything longer term. I think that being prepared for a little bit more blood in the short term will make things a little easier for you so you don't get caught off guard by the market trending down a little bit further. But I think that this is ultimately going to resolve upwards. So I'm still on the higher time frame, super bullish. Still definitely believe that we're going to trade higher. Everything is subject to change though. If we start to lose some of these levels that I'm looking at and see continuation of bearish spot flows, then that is subject to change for sure. Let's get into the medium time frame, which is just going to be highlighting the main plan. This is my main plan this week. If we get above this anchored VWAP, that would be a clear bullish sign. 69K is a kind of basic support and resistance level, and it's also a key anchored VWAP level for me right now. So if we get above 69K, I think that that's a decent trigger to to trade higher. As of now though, the anchored VWAP is serving as resistance, so I really think that what's going to happen is that we're going to end up trading a little bit lower this week and hopefully finding support, right? So 64K has a massive number of overlaps, whether we're talking about composites. It's the 30-day rolling VWAP. It's going to be the quarterly value area high as well as the yearly value area high as well. So there's a lot of overlaps. There's even volume profile levels in here too. So I think 64K is the main area that I'm going to be focused on this week. I think that we'll probably trade down into that, and then we can, do the kind of classic rounded out bottom structure. If we just like yeet into it, then maybe we get a faster response. But because of the fact that this is being largely from spot selling and not driven by perp liquidations, I don't think that we're going to get that fast resolution that we would normally hope for. So this is my main plan this week. I think that this is what I'll be hoping for. If we get above the anchored VWAP, then my bearishness is probably, or not bearishness, my more conservative view on things right now is going to be invalidated. And then if we don't hold 64K, then I think we go down to 60K. But everything will resolve bullishly, in my opinion. I don't think there's any reason to be overly pessimistic about anything. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Let's get into some altcoin talk. So as far as alts go, the name of the game right now is still to be heavily focused up on meme and AI. I think eventually there's going to be rotations into other narratives like, gamify or whatever. But for the time, layer ones are doing okay. But still, the name of the game is definitely AI and memes. So don't try to fade the shift in the meta too early. I think that we want to stay focused on where we're at, which is just alternating between memes and AI. I'm not going to highlight a whole bunch of coins right now. We'll take a quick look at Salana, right? I mean, my hero, honestly. I'm absolutely in love with this coin, just because it's really saved my portfolio, just under $200. So what I've been talking about was $150 was the first major resistance we were working with. We, rejected off of it, yeeted right through it. $175 was the next resistance I was looking at, which we didn't even really need to do much of a pullback. I guess we did, and we just yeeted right through that. I don't think that any of these resistances up here matter much. Some people will be marking out, supply here, maybe all-time high. I don't care about any of that stuff. I think that all those things will get smashed really easily at this point. So you're just looking for medium-ish shallow pullbacks on Salana to play continuation. So just eyeballing it right now, I think that if it was to pull back to 180 or something like that, that's probably a good area to buy the dip on. If Bitcoin trades down lower, like I kind of think it will, then Salana will probably get dragged down, and that will present a fantastic bid opportunity. So still holding all my spot Salana, no intention of making any changes to it anytime soon. It's been the savior of my portfolio recently, no doubt. That's pretty much it. TLDR, I think that the market will probably trade a little bit lower and enter into more of a choppy stage before we trade up higher. The halving is not that far away, so just be mindful that, I really think that you want to look longer term and not get shaken out and chopped up by the medium and shorter term price action. Sentiment really shifted negatively recently. It's wild to see how much Bitcoin going down 10% just completely. It wasn't even that high. I don't even know if we went down 10% yet, but however much we went down really just annihilated people's mental, and I think it's really crazy to watch. So in my opinion, you really want to try your best not to get stuck in the middle of that, emotional mix, and focus on the longer term. In a few months from now, these prices will probably look really cheap. So cheers, everybody. Good luck out there this week. I'll see you soon.